Hello everybody, it's Brian here from quantlabs.net. So I got another query via my forum. Somebody asked about Matlab statistical arbitrage integration with Interactive Brokers. Okay, so I'm going to show you my solution in my backend, and today is October 10th, okay, so 2016. So things may have changed, but I'll show you what you can look for. So let me just give you probably the fastest way to do it. If you're interested, is through my membership. In here, if you become a member, now what I'm about to show you is going to be a limited time that this stuff will be available. So this will disappear in the next few months. All right, so if you come under Other Dashboard, in here you'll find a complete swath of my analysis on Matlab courses right here. So if you click that, oh, bad, my move. All right, so if you go through all the Matlab stuff, let me just do a search here because it is a lot. Somewhere in here. So we have here Matlab stuff on statistical arbitrage, but there's a couple of things you can use. Out of the box, both those requirements can be easily fit using different types of toolboxes. Now the thing is, you don't need to, I don't know if you have to be stuck on Matlab. I just want to show other people. I have put together an option for Python as well. Part of my algo trading course series I did earlier in the year of 2016. We did a one phase here. If you go under algo trading biz under my blog, what will happen is in there used to be a discussion on this exact strategy, but with a lot of intelligence to it. So basically what this strategy did was it's actually explained right here in this video, Trading Algo Phasing 1, Arbitrage Mechanics. That video will explain everything what that strategy did, but back in August, I believe, I pulled down, which was my first benefit that I took away from the current QuantLeap membership, and other things have been disappearing in the last 2 months, and more coming, and what I just showed you here is going to permanently disappear in the next few months. So if you want to learn what you can as is, you may want to get on this. But back to this Python one, basically what it did, it just scanned the economies of Europe through the EU stats, through US, and through pre-programmed rules. You could identify hot market sectors to potentially play in. From there, you can identify your long and your short for your pair trade, and then from there you put on a watch list, and there's a whole other set of criteria that will look for those trading opportunities as they open up, if they do. That's generally the gist. It was done in Python, and it could be also integrated pretty well to any broker, but because we have the infrastructure trading blocks phase, we also show you ways to sort of integrate with Interactive Brokers from Python. From my perspective, not recommended. It's open source, so if something breaks, something updates, you could be stuck where another piece dependency may not work. So Python for Interactive Brokers is not recommended. But let's get right to this person's exact questions. So if you go to the old Google, there's a couple of things that you want to look for. Obviously, we're looking at the new Matlab 2016B, but I'm going to show you to see what we can look for. There's a couple of things when it comes to pair trading. You have the angle, can't remember the name of it, but let's say there's the different maybe statistical arb might be a better way to do this. We'll just do a toolbox search. Yeah, so you have here a couple of options. Now I love Matlab's documentation. Okay, this is very cool. So you can see here, hedge funds, mutual funds are probably using Matlab in itself. You know, it's not public knowledge, but believe me, it's out there. So here you have lots of statistical arbitrage videos and documentation. Now, this is the one I was looking for, the Engel-Granger co-integration test. Let's see what it says. This is the classic way to measure two different matrices to measure if there is any relation when it comes to any type of potential arbitrage opportunity there. So if you use this tool, this function from within, I don't know which toolbox this is. Where would it say? It's been a while since I've looked at this, but just showing you how easy it is. But this is probably the number one way to do it, to test the exact, yeah, here we go. So here you have your test, you have a data series, and you just can do, where's the, so right here you can run the test right here. Okay, and then you get your p-value, your probability value, and then from there you can gauge, you know, probability between these two data series. If there is statistical arbitrage, they're using this EGCI Engel-Granger test. Very powerful. Okay, this is one of maybe 3 examples. There's the Johansson and there's a Uhlenbach or whatever, but you can look for that. But let's talk about the other one, is the integration with Interactive Brokers. Now, I would probably put more money and more reliance on using Interactive Brokers with Matlab. It's just, you're paying for this product, so you're going to get the support that you want. So here, even better, you get the trading toolbox. Okay, again, this is all commercial, there's no free lunch here, but if you do go for it, you can then connect directly into Interactive Brokers using these scripts. I've done it, I've played with it, it's pretty good actually. You can connect into the Trader Workstation, which is great. Again, it's not an option I would recommend, but if you're just looking for like literally a one-stop solution, I think Matlab's a good option. I have not heard a lot about Python integrating with Interactive Brokers. I've got some some Facebook members, community guys in my group that say it works. Maybe it does. I play with the IB Pi package. It was just a joke. And here's the dangerous part about Python is, as I said, if anywhere along the lines where, let's say, Interactive Brokers updates something in their API, you may be waiting for that change to take place in that IB Pi package. Or if it's going to be a contributor, will it be properly vetted? Now, again, if you're going to use an open source third-party package, you got to be very careful, because that's your money. If there's a bug in there and you put in a $20,000 trade into the Interactive Brokers TWS and it sees it, but somewhere along the line using that Python package, it blows up, and instead of being $20,000, it inadvertently, let's say, becomes $100,000. How do you prove that to Interactive Brokers that you didn't want to do that? And even if that was the case, they'd say they don't care, because the responsibility is back on you when you start using third-party software. So if you're going through a commercial player like MathWorks, well, you have somewhere to go to yell at. Even have, if it gets really bad, you have a legality or a legal place to go to potentially, I don't know, sue or whatever. But that's something that we all need to be aware of. But here's another thing that I'm doing. I'm gonna hint this because I'm right now writing, or got in my membership. I should have to show it. In here, if you go into my membership, again, this is going to be there for a very limited amount of time. When things go, everything goes, including this, and what I showed earlier. But if you look for the Interactive Brokers Java test client, this is in my membership. So if you do a search on that, in there is an important project. Right here, I think it's, yeah, okay. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I'm dealing with here. If you go to Interactive Brokers API, okay, just from a higher level for everybody involved, this is really important to understand. If you decide to go with the API of Interactive Brokers, and this is the big feather in Interactive Brokers hat, because nobody else does this better. There are 3 programming language options: it's Java, C#, or kind of .NET, and C++. And then there's a Windows and the Mac OS option, and then there's a Linux option. Ultimately, for me, I want to use the C++ Linux version, better known as a POSIX. That's me. That's my end target. That's not going to be an easy journey. But as a starting out in live trading, starting out in automated trading, I am going to use the TWS software, because that encompasses a lot of extra functionality I don't need to worry about when it comes to charting, to managing my portfolio, blah, blah, blah. That's all built in the TWS Trader Workstation software. So eventually, if things get really rolling, I will want to move off of the TWS and into the Linux C++ world eventually. That may take me a year, who knows? It may never happen, but that's the end target. But coming back to the languages, when you're starting out, the most popular option is Java, okay? Java, Java, Java. I'm not a firm believer of Java, but up to Java 6, I had never had a problem, because that was still under the control of the Sun JDK. And once Oracle came along with 7 and 8 and potentially 9, that's where Java got wonky. But regardless, the Java option is still the number one option. So what you want to look for when you go to the Google is you want to look for something called Interactive Brokers Java Test Client. Okay, this is really powerful. A really powerful option. Now, make sure, because there's different IDEs with Java, and yes, it's another language to work with, but again, if you're going to go through Matlab, it's okay. If you're going to work with Python, not recommended, as I said earlier. Your better option to do it properly is to use a more enterprise level language like Java. Now, I'm going to have some reports to explain why about this on the different language choices, but my recommendation is definitely to go with, yikes, I always forget to turn off this client. Okay, there we go. I always recommend to go with the Java test, the Java option. And because I don't like Windows, and I've numerous times mentioned about Windows 10, and the latency Windows brings, and the insecurity, blah, 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 and the forced updates. Using Windows, it's okay for now, but ultimately when it comes to live trading, and specifically live trading when it comes to execution, I only want to go through either Mac or Linux, okay? Because of the extra layer of security, as well as the unnecessary latency that Windows brings. So because of that, you want to take a look at this piece of software here, the Java test client. And again, I forgot to mention, there's different IDEs. There is NetBeans, and then there's Eclipse. Eclipse is a monster. If you're new at this, new at, let's say, learning even just alone Java, I'd probably go with NetBeans now. It's an easier IDE to work with. That's an integrated development environment. Here, you get the instructions on how to set it up. You know, and it's free. And it's kind of like its own mini little Interactive Brokers TWS, which is great. But here's the thing. Now, if you go back to my membership, Now, if you're not familiar, I'm also using Redis as a NoSQL database, light, free, true open source, it's embeddable, blah, blah, blah. I go on and on about all the amazing advantages that you get with it. But here I've got a project in my membership where you can actually embed a connection into a Redis instance to talk, have your Interactive Brokers Java test client talk to a potential database using Redis, and this works. And I've tested it. I've got various demos on that. So if you just come into if you decide to join this membership, you can just do that search Interactive Brokers Java test client in my membership and get access to all the source code and videos and walkthroughs on that. Now, in actual fact, again, I'll be doing a workshop on this topic, and it'll be a one-time workshop. It'll be live. It'll be done on a Saturday or a Sunday, so everybody doesn't have the excuse of missing out because they're working or whatever. So that opportunity is there. If you become a Quant Leap member, you're a current Quant Leap member, this will be free for you. It will be recorded, and what's going to happen with this workshop and another workshop I'll be doing is, because I'm going to have an audience, hopefully, I think I will, for this workshop on this exact topic I'm talking about here, the integration between the Java test client for Interactive Brokers, as well as the integration with Redis. So I'll have demos and why Redis and a presentation on Redis, NoSQL database in itself. So I'll have both of those topics covered live in this workshop, and I'll also cover in detail how to work with this Interactive Brokers Java test client. Now again, I'm only doing this once. I don't have time to do repeat courses and stuff, but what will happen is, as I said, all this source code I'm showing you over time in the next few months will be taken away. It'll be permanently removed, no more access to anybody, no different than the equity strategy I just mentioned at the start of this video. So because of that, it's, from my perspective, imperative if you want to get access to this stuff, join now. It's very cheap. I took away the annual stuff. We're only monthly right now until we close everything out. And because of that, you'll get access to the workshop. And what will happen is, once this is taken away as well, the workshop, there will be no public video playbacks. But what will happen is that will become its own separate module, sold separately moving forward. And that's going to be a pretty expensive option, just due to the fact that it's pretty valuable to have, because I've got people verifying that any option outside of using this Java API with Interactive Brokers is the only way to go about it. And if you're like me and you care about your account, you care about protecting your account, protecting it from being bug free, this is pretty well your only option to protect your account. Because if you want to go with Python, IBPy, dangerous move, as I mentioned earlier, with the bugs, and then out of that would come potential money loss, blah blah blah. It's up to you, but that's why this little project in the course and all the videos and all that go around it will over time become very, very valuable. Okay, so again, today is October 10th, not meaning to turn this into a marketing video, but just want people to realize the importance and how critical this option is on execution with Interactive Brokers. As I said, that's why I mentioned these projects if you do decide to use MathWorks for free. But again, you've got to pay them to get access to these toolboxes, which is sort of not cheap as well. So these are the different options that you have when you get serious with your automated trading. Okay, so I'll leave these, put these in a blog posting and the video as well. But this was a good question, as well as the statistical arbitrage when it comes to equities, because obviously that's one of the most popular ways of doing it, and from my perspective, the only way to do it, because you can maximize your opportunity, and there's just a lot of ways to attack it from an automation standpoint. Hopefully I'll help you out. Talk to you later.